All right, so picture this. I had a really good friend of mine bought an amazing lot out on the west side of Blanco, Texas. It's kind of in central Texas if you're not familiar with it. Thought he picked out a great builder, had a lot of discussions with him. And long story short, after about 6 months, he had half of a foundation, didn't have any walls, progress had stopped. And he had an additional $50,000 bill that he didn't know where it came from. And they were trying to figure out why the foundation was taking so much more money to build. So that's the whole point behind this video. I'm talking to a lender of mine who does construction loans, and it doesn't matter where you are in the US, and it doesn't matter what you're building. This could be a dream house, this could be a hunting cabin. You've got to vet your builders. And so in this video, we're going to go in and we're going to talk about the things that, as an experienced realtor and as an experienced lender who's dealt with a lot of custom home builders, this is what we think you need to take a look at if you're going to go in and try to build something on a piece of property that you have. How in the world do I pick a contractor? How do I pick a general contractor? Somebody that's going to build my house. What do normal people do?
Well, okay, so there's two sides. What is the builder looking for? I mean, what is the lender looking for in a builder? What are you looking for in a builder? For me, my bank is very unique in that we don't have a long, arduous builder approval process, right? I work with a god awful lot of builders. They love me for this. Often a bank is going to put that builder absolutely through the ringer just as hard to the ball, right? So our philosophy is, if we're willing to do the loan for you, we trust a lot about you. You're going to trust a lot about us, right? We trust you to vet that builder. And of course, I'm going to be along the way helping you with that process.
Right. And from that perspective, it's I'm dealing with this right now. I'm not dealing with it. I was talking to somebody who's dealing with this right now. Guys, you can go find any realtor to go show you a piece of dirt and say, hey, you can buy this piece of dirt.
Right.
I'll help you buy this piece of dirt. They don't know their butt from their elbow when it comes to dirt, when it comes to what it takes to build a house on that piece of dirt, or what a contractor can say when they walk on site there. So you don't have to have me as your realtor, but you better have somebody with some construction experience who has gone through that process. Like if I were Joe Schmo and I was going to find a piece of property and I needed a realtor, the first question I would ask them is, how many custom home lots have you bought and oversaw with your buyer? Because I don't want somebody that's never done it. Right. There's too much that can go on. From picking the builder perspective, personally, I can walk a site like we are here, and I can point out things that are good or bad because I've got that experience. If you don't know the difference between a glulam joist and an I-beam, you may find a different realtor to help you pick that builder, to help you vet that builder. Now, I'm not going to put my butt on the line. At the end of the day, it's you, the buyer, who is going to decide on the builder. But a good realtor can kind of point out some things that you want to go for.
And I want to tell you that, and this is a real pat on the back to you, Chris. I will bet that there's only 10% of the construction loan multitude that I go through in the year where there is a realtor involved at all in the construction loan.
Yeah.
Right? I could point to a couple, you being one of them. The realtor is at the construction loan closing, right?
Yeah.
The realtor is there through the process as it's being built. My gosh, guys, you really want that.
You need that set of eyes. But not about picking a realtor, not about picking a lender. Right. How do we vet a builder?
Okay, I'll tell you first how not to vet a builder. Do not vet a builder based on their website.
That's right.
The pictures on their website or the testimonials on their website. Forget it. It doesn't matter.
That's a good point.
Right?
That's a real good point.
It's just, it is really sad, guys. And we've seen it. We're actually kind of going through one right now where we're 2 years into what was someone's truly the biggest dream of their life. And it's just been an absolute nightmare to the point that someone will drop. We're done. The house we thought was almost done. We thought it'd be done a year ago, and the builders won't show up. Won't take the call. It's just a nightmare. You've got to pick. We're going to figure that out right now.
Yeah.
Get a few tips.
Well, and I was going to say, on that one that you're talking about, guys, I'm not perfect. I vetted that builder as hard as I possibly could. The one that he's talking about. I walked job sites with him. I looked at construction. We talked to previous clients that he had, and I felt pretty good about it overall. I mean, I really did, even though I didn't have previous experience with it. He checked all the boxes, but we're still ending up where we are. That's how important it is to do everything you possibly can to find. I'm gonna jump in for a second, and the nightmare scenario that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and then the one that Trey and I were talking about with that common client. These aren't one-off stories. These are things that happen quite a bit. And I've got to remind you, in a place like Texas, there's not even a license that you need to be a general contractor right now. That went out, a few years ago. Now, in your state, it might be different, or wherever you're trying to build, it might be different. But that's why it's completely non-negotiable to vet the heck out of your contractors. Because here's the thing, construction is not as hectic as it was like in 2021 and 2022, but it's still going strong. And even though we don't have the supply chain issues, we have a labor shortage now. It is really, really hard to find experienced labor for these contractors when they're trying to come out and build your house. And what that's led to is cost of the house going up because of that good skilled labor. What used to be potentially a $60,000 or $70,000 foundation now very well could be $120,000 or $130,000. So again, you've really got to take the right steps from the very beginning when you're vetting your builders. And also, since this video was done with Trey, I've personally learned a few extra tricks along the way for vetting builders. One of those is ask for the timeline of houses that these builders have completed, and then ask them if they stuck to that timeline, or if they got it built faster, or if they blew that timeline. How far beyond that timeline did they go? And again, kind of like Trey and I are talking in here, you can understand some hiccups along the way, because construction's not perfect, but are they making excuses, or are they coming clean and saying, you know what, we blew this timeline by 3 months because of X, Y, and Z? That's an important thing to know. Another thing, and as we get further along with technology, what tech and what tech stacks are your builders using? Are they using drones for surveys? Are they, using drones to kind of take a look at positioning on the lot? Are they using sun apps? You can track the sun through the air with your phone now. Are they using those types of things when they're laying out your house? Are they having conversations with you about the layout? That's an important thing. And then the other thing to check on is, how do they stay in contact with their clients? Are they taking pictures? Because look, you may be building something in a different state. I know I'm about to be. Are they taking pictures and keeping you updated every week or every couple of days? Ask them to show you some of the updates that they're sending to their clients. That could be an important thing. Look, we've got our cell phones. I mean, mine's right here. It's never far away from us. How are they communicating? Are they staying on top of that for you? But let's keep rolling on in the video right now and find out, look, are these good contractors actually unicorns, or are there quite a few of them around? You just got to dig a little bit. Right.
Even if sometimes it doesn't work out. Yeah, we've talked in the beginning, before you pick a builder, you hope you're already working with me or working with another reputable lender.
Yep.
Right? If it's a custom home builder anywhere in this area,
Dripping Springs, Blanco,
yeah,
Canyon Lake to Lake Travis.
Chris and I know.
Yep.
We've heard of them. And I could rattle off a whole list of them, saying it just incredible builders. So you can't go wrong. You want to price it with different one of them? That's
because they do have different pricing.
I'm talking about someone that's responsive, that has you in their best of heart,
and a track record
that is fair, and a track record. We can help with that. Unfortunately, there's also 3, 4, maybe 5 that I'll tell you right now, I would not do a loan for.
It's really sad
if it's your brother-in-law,
yeah.
And this is not vetting the builder, this is experience of what you right. If it's your brother-in-law, I'm sorry, you're still going to have to go to an old vendor. That is for your protection.
Right.
Still the bank's protection as well. Because again, there are successful stories. So I mean, you ask, what are you looking for? And I said the first thing is, what are you done to look? Not looking at a website, right? I think various review sites, Yelp or whatever it is,
like that.
I would look through them, right?
You want to do your diligence.
Are they real? I don't know if they're real. Chris, I'll tell you what I would do. If I was going to build a custom home, let's say I'm moving somewhere way away from here. I'm not in the market.
Right.
I don't know the builders. I need to figure out who they are. You're going to start talking around everywhere. Just ask people, right? Local, whatever. If you're dealing with whoever it is in your daily life, and maybe at this location, just start asking around.
Well, and you nailed it. So if you're in Central Texas, you start with your realtor and your lender.
Yes.
If you're going to build in Abilene, you know, Trey can do the loan up there, but Trey may not know the builders up there. So it may be a better idea for you to find a lender up there. Trey's going to punch me right now when I say that.
No, I mean,
but it might be. And that's the reason I won't help with property up in Abilene, North Texas, East Texas, because I don't know the builders. I don't have that ability. So start local. Ask around.
Yes.
Go to title companies.
Right.
Holy cow, the title companies know them now.
Yes, they absolutely.
You may have to bring them some wine to kind of,
Yeah, so
all right, pop it in real quick, because if you've seen any of my other videos, you know how important this is to me, and you're going to realize the importance of it overall, even if you haven't seen the other videos. But what we're talking about here is finding a local team that you can count on. Now, if you're building your dream house on the lot next door or a mile away from where you live now, you can keep an eye on this. But if you're doing this in a different county, in a different part of your state, or in a different state completely, you have got to find local resources there to help guide you through this. That's what Trey and I do for a living for people here in Central Texas. But if you're looking, I mean, let's say you're going to build something in another state and you don't know anybody there, you just know that that's where you want to build, let me know. I've got resources everywhere. I've got contractors, I've got realtors, I've got lenders, I've got everybody that you need. Almost in every, you know what? I don't have people in Alaska. So if you need somebody in Alaska, we'll have to find that one together. But anyway, let's keep going.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask that builder. We're going to have an initial meeting.
Yep.
And
that's what I was going
to. You know what, guys? In that initial meeting, don't even bring a cost a foot.
Nope.
I really wouldn't. This is a first date. This is a blind date. Is this someone you want to go to war with? Not against, but with.
Right. You're going to be with them.
You're going to
work 12 to 2 years. 12 months to 2 years.
You absolutely are. Is it someone you get along with? Are they responsive?
Yep.
Are they enjoyable to work with?
Right.
And they're going to interview you too, right? There might be a home builder. It's like, I'm not touching that, right?
And I was going to go right off of that. Yeah, there's some builders that will not work with specific clients because they're too high maintenance and they're not going to deal with it.
Right.
And you and I go through the same vetting process. We know.
Right.
But one of the things that I was going to recommend along those exact same lines is, if you have your lot already, take your builder out or meet your builder at your lot and start talking general ideas. Get an idea of how they view the lot. Are they talking about orientation of the house? Are they talking about the cost of the foundation because of the slope of the land? Are they talking about, hey, which trees do you want to save? Stuff like that. Get an idea about how they're looking at things, because if you get a builder that walks out to your lot and is ready to leave in 15 minutes because they're like, yeah, I can build this and I'm going, and they're not actually excited about the project, they're not excited about the prospect of working with you, to me, that's a red flag.
Right.
That's somebody who may be a little bit more transactional, and you may not get along with those people in 7, 8, 9 months.
Right.
So feel them out, and the longer you can spend with them, tell them you're going to jump in the truck with them and you want to go see 2 or 3 of their builds and you want to walk their builds with them. If they hesitate, if they go, well, or I don't have any builds going on right now, well, that would be a red flag
right now.
Yeah.
2023. If you don't around here, something's wrong.
All right, so we just talked about jumping into a truck and going to see job sites with your builders. That has changed a little bit. This video was shot in 2023. It's 2025 now, and real estate is a little bit less busy right now, and builders may have fewer job sites going on. So if they don't have any active job sites, okay, now that's a little bit more understandable, but dig deeper, find out why they don't have any job sites. Did they just finish everything up in the last couple of months and now they're just kind of in between and they haven't started anything? Okay, that makes sense. So go in and find out, okay, if we can't go look at any of your active sites, what about sites that you just wrapped up, maybe in the last 6 months, maybe in the last year? And still, the important thing is that truck time with them and seeing if you can actually work with them. But, business right now may be a little bit slower, or they might just be in between builds. So it's important to find out more about that and dig in when you're talking to them. And at the end of the day, the reason that we're doing this is we're trying to match a builder to your build and a builder to you. Find somebody that you get along with, that you understand, that you communicate with, and that's not afraid to communicate with you, whether it's good or bad. So that's what that truck time is all about. Let's get back into the video. That's right. But go visit sites with them. And the reason I say that you want to try and spend some time with them, if you're with somebody for 2 or 3 hours, they're going to get phone calls.
Right.
They're going to get texts. You're going to see how they react to those situations. Is there something an emergency? Are they screaming at somebody on the phone?
Right.
Or are they, are you their priority? Or are they saying, hey, you know what? I can take this later. Again, get a feel for it. Because that's a big thing.
Okay, so this, as soon as you said phone call, I give this advice. If I'm one of the lenders that you might be talking with, you're trying to consider who to go with. If Chris might be one of the realtors you might be going with, or this home builder might be one of those home builders, make a phone call Friday evening, make a phone call Saturday afternoon, or make a phone call Tuesday at noon. But set in your mind, you cannot expect a phone call to be answered. They're in a hard hat. They're walking back. Right. Probably not going to be answered. When do you get a reply? You get a reply within 24 hours. I say it's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah.
If you get the phone call answered, they should have your number plugged in at that point. I'm not talking about when you're first trying to figure out after you've met someone, right?
Yeah, that's a great point.
They really should reply to you. They're trying to get your business, right?
You are a revenue source.
Because once they've got you on the hook and they're building your house, if when they're trying to get you, they won't get back to you in 2 or 3 days. What's going to happen when you discover, when you go out to the job site, that they think the fireplace on the wrong end of the house, right? So the responsiveness, and again, this is not specific at all to home builders. It's to me. Yeah, I'll tell you what, imagine my contact would be on this information somewhere. Call me Sunday night.
Yep.
Always make that first call Sunday night.
Yep.
And let's have a great Sunday night conversation, because that's what we do. You're the same way, Chris.
Yeah.
Expect the same from a builder within a very reasonable time.
Yep.
I would say.
That's okay. Taking a pause again, because I need to jump in and reiterate this point for you. Responsiveness, like we're talking about, is a complete non-negotiable. I mean, with the tech stacks that we have now, I mean, even, look, your phone. We never go anywhere without our phones. So having a builder that is dodging phone calls or not returning calls promptly, completely unnecessary. There's just too many good builders out there. Most of them are using stuff like Builder Trend. There's other project apps they can use, WhatsApp. I mean, heck, if you're building this in another state or somewhere where you're not present, just being able to jump on a FaceTime call with a builder so that they can show you the job site. If they've got an issue, they can ask you questions. They can show you what's going on. I mean, this is like the barrier to entry now in 2025. I mean, remember, at the end of the day, you are the one that's dumping massive amounts of resources and money into the land and into this construction site. So find a builder that is responsive, and find a builder that's as excited about this as you are. All right, let's keep going in the video. That's a great point.
And I've got more, Chris, on how are you vetting that builder. I want a list of what homes have you completed within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Not a list of referrals.
I do not
Which
want,
houses
I
have
do
you
not
built?
want. You want to give me your referrals? Fantastic.
Yep.
I would like the contact information too. I would like it. Hey, if you built 10 homes and you got 3 relevant referrals, I really want to know why you built that set.
And I was just going to say, that's a great way to go about that early on in the conversation. Hey, how many houses have you built in the last 2 years or last year?
Right.
And then when you ask for those addresses, if they told you they built 10, but there's 5 addresses, that's something to question.
Yes. And I'm going to be fair to, as I have a lot of builder friends as you that are incredible builders, but I wouldn't hesitate. If they give you a list of 8 that they built and one of them just has nothing but terrible things to say, let's take that one, perhaps
a little bit of grain of salt.
With a grain of salt.
Yep.
Maybe talk to the builder then.
You're not
going to lender talk to the builder. They'll find out the reason why.
Yeah, you're not going to please everybody. But that's a good point. Like if somebody just rips the builder, and it's 1 out of 10,
right? Call
the builder. Hey, man, what happened here?
Yeah.
Again, feel them out. Get to know kind of what that experience was. And you know what? Maybe the builder is. Maybe the builder completely screwed that job up.
Yeah.
I had framers that I couldn't keep on site.
Yeah.
My finished guys quit on me halfway through the job. That stuff happens. And a reputable builder, I think, will let you know.
Right there is exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Because there is no job site that I've ever been on that has been smooth. Like, something always happens. It's life.
I mean, you got 30 who have their own supply chain issues, who have their own family issues, right?
And every framing company might be on 10 jobs at the same time.
That's right. That's right. But again, the bottom line boiling down to that one is you want the references, you want the recommendations, you want to see the homes that they build. You want to see all of them. You don't want the ones that were handpicked.
Handpicked. That's why you avoid the website.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right.
Guys, on my website, I've got the same 5 testimonials that I've had since I built the site 5 years ago. Now, Google reviews is different.
Yeah.
Yelp is different, but my website is the same. And look, builders don't have time to build websites.
Right.
They hire somebody to build them one time, which is why you said that's not indicative of a builder. They hire somebody to build them one time, and it's in the background.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a website that's checked off. Now I'm going to go build a house.
I don't care about pictures on a website.
Nope.
You taking up buyers around looking at houses and they're in love with one based on the pictures and you get there.
Wait, is this the same house?
Right. How much did you pay that?
That's talking.
I want to hire.
The Photoshop skills are off the charts. Like that's old school glamour shot stuff where they make me look good. All right. So what else we got? Picking builders.
Man, I think you've got it. I think you've got it. You're gonna have prices all over the board, and there may be reasons for that. I do have another point. Builders range from, I know one out here in the Central Texas area that when you meet them is going to show up in shorts and a t-shirt.
I know about 5 of those.
That is dirty.
Yep.
Right. You're going to meet with a lot of them that are in slacks or khakis, and they're going to show up at your lot with an iPad. Okay. Hey, not knocking either one of them, but I promise you right now, don't knock out that guy in the shorts. Right. And one of my good friends that's just like that, he says, hey, that's fine. I'm not a scheduler. I'm a home builder.
Right. That's right.
I could build this home completely by myself. I've got my own contractors. We get your home built.
And that's a great point, because that guy, more than likely, or woman, more than likely had somebody that didn't show up for a punch list item or needed something done right now so that another sub could get in and start their job, and they couldn't get the previous sub out. So they grabbed a shovel or a pickaxe and they went to work.
That's right.
To keep the project moving along.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah. There are, be careful of
Judging a book by its cover?
Of schedulers.
Oh.
simple schedulers.
Yeah. It's not a bad skill to have, but it's not the only skill to have.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
When you're on site, check this out. If I walk onto a site where I'm having to avoid nails and boards and there's piles of crap everywhere and there's trash and Modelo bottles blown up against the trees and we've got wrappers from breakfast laying out everywhere and you got oil stains all over the concrete and that is an absolute mess, I might want to find out a little bit more about that. Construction sites are messy.
I would want to find out a little bit more. I'm going to go on the opposite side of that. When I go out, and there happens to be a neighborhood not far from where I live. It's production builders, right? Yep. This and that. When you walk through there at the end of every day, at an hour before dark, 30 minutes before dark, every lot, every frame, it's immaculate. There is not a piece of paper on the ground. There is not a cut off stud 2x4. It's immaculate. That is incredibly impressive to me.
It is,
right? And that's going to tell you something about the pride that they have in the product.
Now, and I was going to go somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
To where job sites are not clean. Okay. And your general contractor, again, cannot be there 24/7 to keep an eye on stuff. So I expect to see some stuff. I mean, there's some paper around in here. We've got boards laying around.
And this
but
is
I would consider,
you can get.
Yeah, this is an extremely high-end build, and I would consider this to be a pretty clean job site. I mean, there's people walking around right now that are cleaning up, that are pulling nails out of floor, that are pulling down painting and stuff like that, keeping the site clean. Right. So immaculate is amazing, and you want to see that. But keep in mind, as a construction site, that's very, very few that are going to be that clean.
Right.
But yeah, that's another thing that I personally would look for. All right. So the next thing I thought of in terms of picking a builder is, do they actually work that area?
Right.
I mean, people can go online and they can find a builder, but let's take this area out here in the hill country, for example. If a builder is not familiar with the soil they're going to encounter, with rocks this big that are hard to get out unless you've got excavators, because they're just too big for a damn shovel and it's going to take all day to build. What it's going to take to put a septic system in, in that type of ground, if they're used to building in Bastrop, that's a completely different animal than out here. So you need to find out not only what are the addresses of the houses that you built, are there any addresses near where you're building, because you might get a price for one amount to build your house. But when their um, septic company comes out, and now instead of being $12,000 for an install, that installs 25,000, or the foundation went from 80,000 to 120,000, the builder's coming back to you to pay the difference, even though they're the ones that screwed up and they didn't know. So make sure your builder is familiar with that area. Another good example is around the lake. If you're trying to build a lake house and your builder doesn't understand what it takes to get above the FEMA floodplains and the cost of that, you need to find somebody who is familiar with that type of construction.
And Chris, I'm a huge proponent of local.
Oh, absolutely.
Board of directors for our local Dripping Springs Chamber of Commerce.
Yep.
I pitch it, I preach it, and at the same time, I do a lot of things all over the state.
Yeah, yeah.
The same is so true for a builder. There's a reason why they build. There's a lot of good builders around here. I would venture to say in every market anywhere in Central Texas, there's a very good reputable builder that can be to there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. So if you bring a builder in here from, somewhere quite a bit farther out, zero contacts with subs.
That's right.
They don't have the relationships with subs. You're last on the list.
That's a great point.
Now we just added 6 months to your bill.
That's right. I've got a buddy who brings in a builder that he's worked with forever in Midland. And the builder came here and he spent the first 3 weeks going to other job sites trying to find subs.
Right.
And then again, if a sub doesn't show up, well, that sub, if they've got a builder that has them on 10 job sites a year versus one that's a one-off, one, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
And two, if they walk the site and that builder's from Midland, they don't care. It doesn't ruin their reputation.
They don't. When they get a call late at night from 2 different builders saying, "Hey, I've got to have something more."
Yep.
You're smart enough to know which one.
Who's that one that constantly puts money in my pocket?
That's right.
That's it.